I'm Marcia Boyles, and I'm delighted today to introduce two people who are going to be directly involved in the upcoming Greenspring Players fall production. Let me begin by introducing the director, who's Caroline Boubin. Caroline, welcome. We're delighted to have you
Well,
today.
it's great to be here. Thanks, Marcia.
And John Carle, who plays I guess one could call you one of the stars.
I'm the inspector.
You are the inspector, and the name of the play is An Inspector Calls. Tell us when the play is and what nights it's showing.
Well, the dress rehearsal will be on November 11th. That's a Monday.
Monday evening.
Yes, at 7 o'clock, and it is open to an audience. Then we have our first performance, real performance, on Tuesday the 12th, and then again on Wednesday the 13th. We're dark on Thursday, so there's no play on Thursday, but we have it again on Friday night, starting at 7 o'clock. And
Village Square Theater.
Village Square Theater, correct. And then we have a Saturday matinee at 2 o'clock on the end of the week.
All right, so dress rehearsal Monday, show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
And Saturday.
Saturday afternoon. Okay. Tickets are $5.
Yes, they are. Now, the rehearsal, a couple of years ago, we do have quite a few people come to the dress rehearsal. So very often it's actually our best performance. So we do charge for that. We don't sell tickets, but if you're going to come to the dress rehearsal, bring a $5 bill because you pay at the door, except for the staff. They can come to the dress rehearsal and there's no charge.
All right. Tell me about tickets and ticket sales.
Well, I just got an email from Gwen Lockhart, who's in charge of ticket sales campus-wide. They're going very well, but there are still lots of seats, so if somebody wants to come, they should go ahead and order their tickets as soon as possible. Because in the past, we have had practically sold-out houses, right, John?
Yes, for every performance.
Yes.
And I might add that Wednesday evening sells out first.
Sells out first, yes. Always does, doesn't it?
Yes.
All right. And except we know Wednesday is probably going to sell out. Tickets are available at the door for most performances?
If there are seats left.
If there are seats left, What about handicapped? Are there a limit to those?
Yes, they have so many handicapped spots, and they have, if you have a walker, we have people who are amongst the ushers, and they will help you to your seat, and then they'll take your walker and park it somewhere, because obviously we can't have walkers jamming
or
the
chairs
aisles.
in the
That's
aisles.
Right. But yes, there are plenty of handicapped spots still available.
All right. All right. We got in our cubbies the order forms for the tickets. Okay.
Right.
Now, tell us about the play.
The play.
Well, the play, it's called An Inspector Calls. It's set in 1912, Edwardian England. And the cast is really quite phenomenal. We have a first-rate cast. The actual play, it's a drama. It's a dramatic play. It's got lots of twists and turns, and it revolves around a wealthy Edwardian family in northern England called the Burlings. As John has already mentioned, he is playing the inspector who calls rather unexpectedly. It is the Burling family is the name of the family, and the whole play takes place in their formal dining room in a fictitious town in northern England called Brumley. Mr. Burling is played by Fred Lash, who recently finished in the Little Theatre of Alexandria in A Few Good Men. He's a very experienced actor, excellent, as is John. the part of his wife is being played by Sally Simcoe, the daughter by Sue Frankie, the son-in-law by Bob Clark, and the young son, Eric, is being played by Carle Tippett, complete with wig and mustache.
Carle Tippett in drag, I think we're all
Yes,
looking forward to seeing.
Yes. She's very good.
I'll bet she is.
I mean, she's taken on a lot of the character, the way she walks, the way she moves.
She said she had been studying both voice and posture.
Well, Carle Tippett is a dream to direct. Whatever you suggest she does it, and she practices at home a lot to make sure she's got it right. So it is really an excellent cast, and we're so lucky to have John, because I directed him in A Butler did it 3 years ago, and he hasn't even tried out since then. So I was just delighted. Actually, he wouldn't commit. Jane Ford is my assistant director, and we kept asking John, are you going to audition for this role? Because he's perfect in the role. And right up till days before the auditions, he said, well, I haven't really decided yet. So when he actually did show up, it was like, oh my God, John's here.
We should remind folks, John, who there may be a few here who don't know you. I don't think there are going to be many. But those who don't know you, that you were a professional dancer and actor all of your life. So,
Yes.
so we're very fortunate to have some professionals in the crowd. And Caroline, you were actively involved in Little Theater in Alexandria, weren't you?
A long time ago. It's something I actually wanted to do as a profession, but my father nixed it. He thought it'd be better if I get a college education and be able to get a real job. But yes, I did it in high school. I actually won the award in high school for playing Kate in The Taming of the Shrew. And when I went up for my award, the headmistress, I didn't come to the States till I was 22. The headmistress said, well, the award, the drama award goes to Caroline Lloyd, my maiden name, for her portrayal of Kate. But we can't help wondering how much acting was really necessary. I did have a bit of a reputation in high school for being a troublemaker. Yes, I did.
Now, you don't think that reputation has continued?
Of course not.
Good answer, John.
Yep, absolutely.
And then I did it in college, and I did it when I came here. I did it for a community theater in Alexandria called the Port City Players. I was an Equus, and then they had a musical, Zorba, and I can't sing, so I played a very small supporting role as a Greek prostitute wearing a black wig.
All right, I'm not going to touch that.
I was going to say typecasting.
Okay, all
But
right.
I don't think I should.
Now, this is not a salacious show, folks. All right.
Yeah, it's, so I mean, I didn't do it for 40 years because I got married, I had children, I had a full-time job, and you can't do theater when you have all those other responsibilities.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But when I came here and I was checking it out and I saw the theater, I thought, oh goodness, they have a theater, they have a drama group.
Let's talk a little bit about this play. I went on YouTube and saw the British version of it, and I thought it was a very powerful play.
It is.
I mean, it's a serious play and beautifully written. Was that your sense of it as well? That it really is quite powerful, and I think it's one that really resonates. It was written, what, in the 40s?
45.
45.
Yeah.
And then was revived on Broadway in the, I think, was it the 80s or 90s, John?
Well, I saw it on Broadway in 1968.
Oh, you did, that early.
Yes, which is not mentioned in Wikipedia. I hadn't been able to find, I was looking for the cast, actually,
The original cast.
of 1968. And then it was revived in, I think, 48, and it was just revived last year.
Yeah, when it was winning all the Tonys and other awards, I think was in a Broadway revival in the early 90s,
Yes,
as
it
I
was.
recall. And it won more awards, according to the Wikipedia and some others, more awards than any play in history,
Wow.
according to the article I read about it.
The script is brilliant.
It really is.
It really is.
And even though it was written back probably in the 45, I think it really still resonates. I mean, it has a very modern feel to it.
Well, you could actually do that play today.
Yes.
You
yes.
really could.
We are.
No, I mean, the circumstances that existed in 1912 England,
Sure. Yes.
you know, between the classes.
Right.
I mean, it's not as pronounced today, but it still exists. And it certainly still exists in England.
Well, and it isn't just the class system. I think it's attitudes and how we treat each other.
Yes.
Definitely.
You can talk a little bit about the plot of it, that it's about when the inspector comes to this house quite unexpectedly. Tell us what happens then. What does the inspector have to say?
Well, he arrives and starts questioning people.
Now, what does he say to them? What's the premise here? What do you announce?
Well, a young woman has committed suicide.
Very poor woman.
Very poor,
Living in
low
squalor.
class in England.
Working class.
Yes, and the inspector comes to find out what they know about it, because the girl used to work for Mr. Burling's company. So I think that's probably the hook there of why he is there
In the first place.
in the first place.
But it goes beyond that
Oh yes.
concerning this family. So it just sort of hooks you. It gets you in.
Yes, it does.
Like, who's next? Who's next?
Because each person in the family, it turns out, knew her well.
Had some involvement with her throughout a short period of time, a couple of years, I guess. Over a couple of years, they all had
Yes.
some
Yes.
involvement with her, but they don't know it.
They don't know each other's stories,
They don't know each other's stories,
and
at
they
all.
don't hear it mostly either, because the inspector is speaking to each of them.
Well, they're all there.
They're all there. So
Are they?
hear it.
Okay, all right, that's right. It's
Most
Eric.
of the time, they're all there.
And it's an interesting thing about it. How much does the inspector know?
Oh, how much is he
Yes, he's a very cool character.
Yeah, and he starts out really quite gently being nice to a class above him. I mean, he's in a home of an sort of upper class family, and he's not. He's a policeman.
Yes.
He's an inspector for the police department. And so you have to imagine, what does the inspector feel about them? And this wonderful dining room and all the beautiful glasses and everything, when he probably drinks out of the bottle without a glass, you know, that kind of thing. So there are many ways to play him, because he wants to get the information from them. He may know some basic facts,
Yes.
but he needs to tie it together.
And they need to fill it in.
They need to fill it in. Like, why did they do certain things?
And he doesn't give away anything, does
No.
he? I mean, he is very,
He's
very,
very cagey.
cagey and composed.
And
One
he
of
starts out being very affable-ish. But as they start to push him, he fights back.
Yes.
And so
Politely.
that's where the drama comes from, at least in my part. And especially my relationship with Mr. Burling, who's very dignified and very haughty.
Yes,
his
has a real sense of
superiority.
entitlement.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This family has absolutely no idea how the other half live.
And they don't care, is my sense.
Yeah, well, they don't know. They don't know. They live this very sort of cloistered life within their own group. And the only person who has any dealings with what you would call an underclass is Mrs. Burling, the mother. And she serves, as, on a committee, a charitable committee that are supposed to help young girls in trouble. But there's no feeling that she really cares. It's a social position to,
Yes.
chair this charity committee.
Right.
And so, she doesn't really understand. None of them really understand how these people live. And that's how it was. It sort of takes place at like the first episodes of Downton Abbey. Exactly those times, 2 years before the First World War. And the conditions in England at that time were just deplorable because there were no trade unions. There was nothing to help the working class. And they worked for slave labor, slave wages, and the upper classes were making a fortune because they paid so little. And the inspector is trying to bring that point home to them. And he does it pretty effectively. Certainly John does it very effectively.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be a tough role to play, John. And you just have to play it, be very cool.
Well, when I read the script, I think I called you and I said, this is really interesting. This will be the 4th play I've directed, but it's the hardest. To me, it's the hardest to direct.
For what reason, Carol?
The dialogue is, you've got to remember, it was written by an Englishman back in 1945. So it's easy to follow, but can you explain this, John?
Well, it's written, the sentences are constructed the way they would be constructed in a country style of English. So it's not British that we understand of the upper classes in London. This is country language.
Northern England, industrial Northern England at the time.
And the sentences are constructed in a very odd way. So in that respect, it's hard to memorize for Americans.
It's not hard to understand.
No.
It's just hard to memorize.
I think we were talking before the show, and I said my sense was that it was terribly dense, that the dialogue was dense. I mean,
Yes.
you're hanging on every single word they're saying.
Yes.
Because every word is significant. And I mean, I think you just get hooked. After I watched it on YouTube, I came away just sort of blown away by it. I mean, I just thought it was a magnificent play, and certainly applicable to today, for all kinds of reasons.
Certainly, I've been here 4.5 years, and we've never done anything remotely like this play before, have we?
No. We tend to lean towards comic situations, but this play is a classic. It has been done since 1945.
Yes.
And it's never out of style.
No, that's exactly right.
Colleges do it, high schools may do it, or scenes from it. And it's now traveling. It was at the Kennedy Center within the last year for at least a month, maybe 2 months. And Stephen Daldry, I think his name is the director, he redirected it in 2019, beginning of, and it's played on Broadway in 2019, and it is traveling the country. It's already been in Los Angeles. It's been in D.C., it started in New York, it's been to Chicago. Now it's hitting the smaller venues around the country, and probably will go abroad.
Yeah, it's one of those plays that is never going to go out of style, I
No, it
think,
won't.
because it's focusing on characteristics that are universal
Yes.
and timeless.
Did I mention the cast? All of the cast? I don't think I did.
You mentioned some of them, but
John
no, you have
obviously is in the lead role.
Right.
Fred Lash
Right.
plays
you
the
mentioned him.
patriarch of the Berling family. Sally Simcoe is playing
Right.
his wife. His daughter is being played by Sue Frankie. His son Eric is being played by Carole Tippett.
Yes, we
in
mentioned
wig
that.
and mustache. And his son-in-law is being played by Bob Clark. And we also have a maid, Edna, and she's being played by Marge Tipton. Marge I believe Marge was on the stage quite a while ago, but then she wasn't. But she joined my play reading group, and she read so well. I suggested she audition for the part of the maid.
Good.
It's not a big part, but it gets her back on the stage.
Well, one of the wonderful things about the Greenspring Players productions are the sets. They are just absolutely splendid and so professional. Tell us about the set for this one. This is in the dining room, you said.
Pardon?
In the dining room.
A formal dining room.
So what do you think is the main part of a dining room?
The table.
The table. And do you know what that does to a director? It challenges them to be a director.
Yeah,
a
I
good director.
didn't mention the table, but we do have a very nice table right center stage, because that's the action all flows around
Yes,
that.
yes.
The play starts right after the Berling family have finished their dinner. And they're having their port, and very merry and jelly and everything. What we didn't have was a suitable fireplace. We have fireplaces.
Because they certainly didn't have central heating at that point.
They didn't have
That's
central
right.
heating, but the only fireplace we have sort of is better for like a woodcutter's hut out in the forest.
It's quite small, yeah.
Yes, and very
I remember that.
unimpressive. So John Kravnicek, who works in the wood shop, a lot of people will know John. I asked him if he could build us an Edwardian fireplace with a high mantle, and he has done so.
Quite ornate.
Yes, he's done a wonderful job. We actually haven't had it at rehearsal so far because he's been working on it, but we are getting it this week. So it was very good of him to do that. I mean, it took him quite a long time. But so now we have that resource if we need it. We have the wood shop. I mean, it's nice to work with people who are in other activities here.
Of course.
It sort of brings them in too.
Caroline, we should probably mention the fact that your production team is well over 40 people, that it's a huge crowd of folks.
We have wardrobe, makeup, hair, and then we also have all the people who sell the tickets.
Prompters.
Publicity. Fran Duval is in charge of publicity, and she's doing a wonderful job getting the word out. We have green boards out in the various lobbies.
Yes.
So she's doing a heck of a job, actually, as she always does. So we're getting, lots of publicity, and I just want people to come because I think they would be excited about this play. We've done a lot of comedies, we've done a lot of regular murder mysteries, but we've never done anything as thought-provoking as this play. You're going to leave the theater really thinking about it.
Absolutely.
What the message was.
Yes. It just resonates on a human level.
Yes.
I think one of the things that and it has impressed me all along with the players is the degree to which it brings the community together. I mean, these productions, there are 2 productions, spring and fall, and they've been going on for, what, 15 years, John? I mean,
At least,
before
yeah.
both of us were here.
Born.
So something like 15 years. And the community just comes together in a different way than I think it does for any other activity. It just really is a wonderful experience.
Yes, it is.
The audience is hugely supportive.
Yes, they are.
Of whatever is going on stage. I mean, a lot of the people on stage are friends of ours, so we sort of have to be. But it really does bring the community together.
Well, also people love to see their friends, people they know,
exactly,
on stage,
and people we know, selling tickets and big the ushers. And,
correct.
no, it just has a wonderful community feel to it, and it surprises me every year how much support and how much enjoyment people get out of these plays. In fact, the whole Players group, I think, is really quite splendid. Want to talk a little bit about the Players?
Yes. The Players, it's a wonderful, wonderful group of people who work together. We have lost a lot of people, not necessarily who've passed away, but who can no longer memorize dialogue. And so they can't appear on stage. And we've lost a lot of talent that way, because we are an aging community, and
I've noticed that.
Yeah,
yes.
the memory starts to go a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are providing support in other ways often.
Yes.
And they're also active in the Players group. I mean, we should mention the fact that there is a Players organization.
Correct.
Oh, very much so.
And what?
We have a board of directors.
Okay, 100 or 150, somewhere in there, members, I think.
Yeah, we have a general meeting every 3 months, and our next general meeting is going to be the last Monday of the month at 7 o'clock in the Akatink room. And for our entertainment, Fran Tompkins is going to give us a piano selection of popular music, easy listening, and Broadway show tunes. As you all know, Fran leads the choristers, and she's wonderfully talented. And I guess a year or so ago, she did a medley for us of Broadway show tunes.
Yes, I remember that.
And it was one of the best entertainments we've ever had in the Akatink room. So there will be a flyer going out to the entire community about that, because we'd like to fill the room.
It's a wonderfully active group.
Yeah.
I mean, really a lively, active group.
We signed a lot of people up at the Village Fair who were interested in joining the group, either as actors or helping out, backstage with things. And we do have a lot of people involved, but we can always use more.
Yes, for sure. No, it takes a large group of folks.
Yes, it does.
For these productions.
And it takes a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
And this play has gone very well, and we've had a lot of support from the production team.
Well, I think the production team always comes through.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are some folks that have been doing some things for a long time. The props and the
but the
decorating the stage.
Decorating the stage.
It's a big job.
Yeah, Jenny King gets all the furniture, begs, borrows, steals, whatever she can, because we do put on these productions on an absolute shoestring.
Right.
We spend as little money as possible.
Well, we should also say, Caroline, that the profits, and there are at least several $1,000s of profits.
About 4,000.
Go to scholarships for George Mason drama students.
That's right, and the Benevolent Fund and the Staff Appreciation Fund. So we don't keep a whole lot of it.
No, and your costs you keep are kept
so
down to a minimum.
So that's why we can't spend a lot of money.
Well, you try not to.
Well, we don't. So, somehow we manage to get things done. When I was talking to John about the fireplace, I said, "You're not going to charge us for this, are you, John?" He said, "Well, I will charge you for the materials.
Sure.
But the labor is free.
That's right.
We love free.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, folks, I see that we're down to the end here. You both have been so articulate and helpful. I think this is going to be a wonderful play.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
Good,
to
John.
do.
That's the way it should be.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, and again, it brings the community together in a wonderful way.